University in Ghana was brilliant. Like, I talk about the love and the community and the spirit of partying. It was very, very good.
Yeah.
But it was tough. In my second or third year, we didn't have electricity.
You've gone through an illness that almost took your life and changed the story of your journey as a human being. Tell us more about that, because that way, paying the price and the resilience you did mention growing up in Ghana. You are, we're not meant here to sell any books or anything, but I think we should get hold of this book. If you're a reader, I think it's important that you just go and look at it.
But people don't see it. But when I go back and I see, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, Ghana's rules were not named. No, you had no names. You just grew up into a road. They'll say, if I'm going somewhere, it's the road by the apple tree, by the
left,
apple tree.
that tree.
But you see the bird. No. I mean, it's like we had a really bad airports. I went to Ghana. They said they were building an airport. I went to Ghana like 2 years, 3 or 4 years ago. The airport was ready. I could not believe the quality of the airport. I spent less time in Accra airport than I did. Yeah. I want to inspire the next generation of Africans.
Yes.
Yeah. For that they can break out of the mold. Yeah. If there's one thing that I would like, this is to do with Africa, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I would like to be remembered as somebody who broke the mold, and inspired generations of Africans behind him. Second book, Chasing Permanence, is about the high streets.
High streets.
Yeah.
In England.
I'm probably the first African who's written about the British high streets.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's all about trying to inspire people to break out of the mold. We can contribute meaningfully and massively. And I would like to think that when I'm not here, in the next 20, 30, 40 years, I'll be able to be remembered as someone who inspired, not just Africa, but also the minority community.
And to extend, the current president, whose time was supposed to finish 2028, and they've seen a lot of change. They are saying a lot of changes in him, but they don't feel he has fulfilled the time we talked about. They need him to stay 2 more years, to extend it to 7 years. Is that something you're talking about, or that could also come across as he has not finished stealing?
And this is the African position.
Welcome to Raise With Us podcast, a place where we challenge the mindset and change the narrative from the diaspora to Africa to diaspora. There's so many people who are in the diaspora who are stagnant, they can't move, and we are here to change their mind. There's so many people who are in Africa who are thinking to make a trip across many channels, many seas, to find better pastures. But are they better at home? Here, my host, Tendai Madume. I can't do this alone. I have a mandate to try and shape our minds for our continent, Africa. Let's get into a conversation. Today I've got a man who is a very smart man. I met him years back. When I say I met him, I'm here in Plymouth. That's where I'm based, as all you know. Thank you if you are joining us again for the second time or third time. Please don't forget to like, subscribe our channel. That's the only way we can grow. I have a guest in the studio, a man who has paid the price, and now he's talking about chasing permanence. I've got Steve Adjei in the building. Steve, how you doing?
Thank you, Tendai. This is a privilege to meet you, man.
Thank you very much for coming through. Yes. I appreciate you coming, Steve. I think I've known you for a while now. Yeah. I think we're talking back 2008, 9. Yeah. It's been a while. Yes. And in that time, you have done a lot. Yes. For yourself and for the community here in Plymouth, which I'm fully aware, and I really appreciate you coming through to our podcast. How are you?
Not bad. I remember the first day I saw you, I was walking and you had your Range Rover. And
did I?
And I was walking in the sun. In the rain, everyone was beating me, and I saw this guy. I said, "Who's this guy?"
Oh no, I think we'll cut that one out. But nevertheless, Steve actually introduced me to a church, which we've gone to the same church. Yeah. Yes, in Plymouth. Shout out to PCC. Yes, a very good communal church. Steve is from Ghana, but I'm going to let Steve talk for himself. Steve, who is Steve Adjei? I know I've mentioned that you're a pharmacist, an author, #1 selling book at Amazon. I want to hear more about that, but we'll talk about that. But who is Steve Adjei?
So over the years, I've come to realize that basically I'm a bridge builder. That's what I do. So I build bridges. I build bridges between Africa and Europe. I build bridges between all sorts of people. So who is Steve Adjei? Fundamentally, I build bridges. But if you want to go further, obviously I'm a pharmacist. I'm a #1 best-selling author. And also I'm a family man. I have a wonderful wife, 2 beautiful children. And I love Plymouth.
Yes.
I love the city. So fundamentally, that is what I'm sure we go deeper as time goes on. But
That's correct.
fundamentally, I'm a bridge builder.
Yes, I mean, that would make me a bit scared. Steve is an academist, a systematic man. His podcast, I'm going to be a bit nervous. You know how it is when you speak to someone who is like Steve Adjei. It's not just a normal guest for us on this podcast. Steve brings a very different dynamic to our core plan with our podcast. Steve, childhood in Britain, grew up in Ghana, and come back to Britain and become successful as a man. So it's gonna bring our core fundamental to our podcast into a very high level. I hope that we'll do justice on this particular podcast. So, Steve, tell us your story. You said I've said it that you were born here, and then you returned to Africa, Ghana, at age of 5. Tell us how did that happen, and what was going through your mind when you hear your parents saying we are going back to Ghana?
Yeah, so my dad was a lawyer here. My mom used to work in Selfridges. So when they always they gave birth to me, and then my sister after me, who's passed sadly. But my dad said one day we need to go back to Ghana. My mom was not happy with the situation, but my dad insisted. So when I was 5 years old, my sister and I and my parents, we went back to Ghana, went to live in Accra. And looking back now, it's the best decision my parents made.
Wow.
Yes, because I can say I'm a proud British and I love England, but I can also say I'm a proud Ghanaian and I love Ghana. And being brought up in Ghana obviously has given more advantages than disadvantages.
Yeah, tell us more. I think so many people who are still right here in the UK or in Australia, US, diasporans raising their kids here. There are some of them are facing the same challenge, thinking that maybe taking their kids back to Africa, there is depriving. It's a downgrade. But tell us, what was life like growing up in Ghana? As you arrived, born in Britain? I'm not sure how much Ghanaian language did you speak at the time. How much was it growing up in Ghana? Just paint a picture how it was. I know many media personnel or BBC or whatever, etc. Just as an example, they portray Africa as a bit of a poor, playing in the dust, eating stuff, one child with mucus coming out for child in need, bad bits. But tell us your experience when you returned to Ghana growing up.
I love Africa and I love Ghana. I had luckily for me, my parents were relatively wealthy. My dad was a lawyer, my mom was a fishmonger. But we grew up near poverty. So even though we had a very wealthy upbringing, we grew up near a slum, you know. And I love Ghana. My upbringing in Ghana was fantastic. I went to one of the best schools in Accra, finished where I went to university, made lots of friends, speak the language fluently. So for me, I cannot look back in Ghana with any negativity.
Yeah.
I mean, the times that we were there were tough times. That was when Africa was going through a transition. You know, you had the same thing in Zimbabwe, where there was colonialism, there was coup d'etats, and then there were lots of civil wars.
Yeah.
So the time when I was in Africa, in the 80s, was a very tough time for Ghana. You know, there was a lot of poverty, but there's also a lot of joy, a lot of happiness.
Yes.
A lot of love.
Yes.
And those principles of community, of love, of happiness have grown with me, have stayed with me throughout the years, even as I came to the UK. So for me, I love Ghana. I think it was a brilliant experience for me.
That's good. For a young man that is listening, what are the core things would you say you've carried from Ghana through your life that you feel like, because I know there's so many young people who are here from diasporan parents who are struggling with identity. Of course, the narrative that they've been pushed to them, like I just said earlier, Africa is poor, Africa is this, is bad, is this. But I'm sure Africa contains values and cause that have made you to be where you are today. We did mention off air, we're talking about that. You said some of your cousins or some of your other people or friends in your circle who have grown up here completely. They kind of gone AWOL, but you have stood to yourself. Tell us some of the lessons that you pick up that you still use today.
I think for me, it's three things really. The first thing is discipline. Discipline as in you were not allowed to do some stuff that you get away with here. My parents were loving and caring, but also very strict.
Yes.
And so that strictness has brought me respect. Respect for people that are older than you, respect for the community. And that's the second thing as well. As Africa, you live in community. And the community is like a little village. You all look out for each other. You all care for each other. And that's one thing that I've brought with me here, even as my job as a pharmacist, my job as an author, my job as a speaker, is that caring for a community. That's one thing that's really, really stayed with me as an African. And the third thing is just love for people.
Yes.
There is a deep love and care
Yes.
that Africans share. You can meet an African from Zimbabwe, from Nigeria. And we all have that kind of sharing where we love people. You want to care for people. You want to make sure people are okay. And these are the three things that I would see: the love, discipline, and community.
Yes, I think it's very deep. I think you've touched core there. I don't want this to filter it. The kids that are growing up here, they are lacking those things you've just mentioned. I think I can speak for many parents. There's parents who are struggling with their 10-year-old, 11-year-old, up to 19 or up to 17. In this country, from a diaspora or from an African perspective, that are struggling to control, struggling with discipline, struggling with respect to an extent. I like that, Steve. Thank you very much. So basically, that to your core principle that didn't learn from school. That is you have no certificate to show that you've got those principles. But the African time or the time you spent in Ghana shaped you to get those. My understanding, Steve, is you did your degree of pharmacy in Ghana. How was it like? Tell us some university life in Ghana.
It was tough. University in Ghana was brilliant. I talk about the love and the community and the spirit of partying. It was very, very good.
Yeah.
But it was tough. In my second or third year, we didn't have electricity because the Ghana uses a dam, a hydroelectric dam, and for some reason there was no rain. So for about a year or two, there was no rain at all. Well, very little rain. So we had no electricity. So for 5 months, there was no electricity. So we had to study with a candle. That's probably why my eyes have become so bad. We went through a lot of tough times. So tough times in those days. The lecturers went on strike because they were not paid enough. So they had another 3 or 4 or 5 months where there was no teaching at all. But that taught us resilience, as Africans. We went through a lot of struggle and problems and issues, but that's built resilience in us. Most of my mates who qualified either here or in Ghana, some of them have built multi-million-dollar companies, who qualified with me, So that resilience has really, really helped us. So it was tough. They're getting a degree. I look at the universities here and everything is available for them. In Ghana, we didn't have it that way. Things were tough. But they made us treasure our degrees even more.
Yes.
Because if you sweat for something and you pay the price and you work hard, when the thing comes to you, it is sweeter, it is nicer.
Yes.
So we cherished our degrees because we had to work so hard.
So hard for them.
For
Yes.
Them,
I feel like here they just dish them out.
Yeah.
I'll take that out of my podcast. Steve, now at 29, you're graduated. I'm not sure if you're married by then. I don't know who made the decision for you to come back to England. Who did? But by that time, clearly you're an independent man. Did you make that decision yourself or your father? Please take us through.
Yeah, so I made a decision to come back. In hindsight, I don't know whether it was the right decision or the wrong decision because top of my class when I qualified, there were jobs waiting for me in Ghana, really, really good jobs. but I had the desire to experience what it was like in England because I was born here.
Yes.
And I'd already left here since I was a child. I only came back once in 1985. So I wanted it was the desire to experience what England was like.
Yeah.
So I made a decision, and also because I was British,
Yeah.
it was easier.
Yeah.
So I made a decision to come back to the UK. So it was my decision. My parents were supportive. My mum and dad were very supportive of it. I think in hindsight, my parents would have preferred that I stayed in Ghana, but I think I made up my mind.
Yeah.
I wanted to come back.
wanted to come
I wanted
back.
to come back to the UK.
Yes.
So it was my decision.
I can understand it. And you 29-year-old man in Ghana with a pharmaceutical degree, with a British passport in their pocket, and stay in Ghana.
Yeah.
I think I think any kid or any person in that age would do the same.
Yeah.
You landed back in Heathrow, Gatwick, whichever airport you came to. What was the shock for you the first 6 weeks, 3 months, 4 weeks in your life? I mean, clearly you left when you're 5 because that time you had no responsibilities. You didn't even know where the money is coming from the trees or whatever. Now you've come back. You're a man. You got to take care of yourself. What's most of difficult things you faced when you come down?
The first shock I faced, which is funny enough, was I lived with my auntie who came to pick me up from Heathrow. Was the type of how small the houses were.
Yeah.
That was my first. I remember when I entered because my auntie, where the people come from Ghana, they come to Europe, they dress big. And
Yeah.
So I thought my auntie was this big woman who had this big cars. But when I entered the flats, I was shocked about how tiny the flat was.
Yes.
And how small it looked, But I kept my mouth shut.
Yeah.
And
Head down.
Head down and stayed there for. But that was the first shock. The second shock was when I went to my first job.
Yes.
I had my first job was in Superdrug, in Oxford Streets, which is the middle of
I think you
London.
mentioned that in your book.
In Chasing Permanence, yeah. So my first shock was obviously how big the shops were. So it was a bit of a funny thing because the flats were small,
But
the shops were very, very big. And getting to know lots of races, Indians, Pakistanis, British, the whole cocktail. I'd never seen that in my life.
yes.
So that was also another big shock.
Yes.
So these are I'll say the two main things that I really, really am.
But what also, this is London, right?
Yeah,
London, yeah.
Yeah, London.
What also felt familiar? Is there anything that come across your eye and say, oh, I know that?
Yeah.
Or it was all like, wow, where am I?
No. Some things were familiar, obviously, because
Pounded yam? What did you guys eat in Ghana? Do you eat?
we ate fufu, which is similar to pounded
Similar
yam.
to-
Yes.
yeah.
I mean, obviously, my auntie was Ghanaian, and there's a very big Ghanaian community in London.
there was,
so
yeah.
it just still is. Yeah, it still is. So it wasn't a complete shock. I met obviously a lot of Ghanaians. We still have Ghanaian food, Ghanaian music. But because I also was privileged to go to one of the best schools in Ghana, possibly in Africa, the secondary schools, we had been exposed to the British life. We had British teachers coming in to teach us.
I see.
So coming to Ghana was not a complete shock.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was still a really, really big shift.
Yeah.
In mindsets.
When you come back after spending almost 24 years in Ghana, did you feel British or Ghanaian?
No. I felt very Ghanaian. It took me a long time to adjust.
Yeah, again.
Again, in London, same as London, because in Ghana, you tend to stay in your community. So my community were Ghanaians. My church was Ghanaian. So even though I was in the UK, I was still living in Ghana until I came to Plymouth. And I'm sure you get that. That's a completely different story.
Yeah.
But I was sort of slowly adjusting to the British life. But I wasn't exposed one day.
Yeah.
Because even though I used to work in Oxford Circus, there were lots of British people. I always come back to my food. Always come back to my rice and stew and my chicken. So it was a gradual process.
Yes. That's very interesting because I think that is well in itself where people move abroad. We are so quick, we're so aligned to look for our people first. So I'm from Zimbabwe. I make sure if I met a Zimbabwean, I get their number. I met the other one, I get their number. So weekend, I'm at their house. So you become more Zimbabwean in Britain, which sometimes I think is also probably in terms of integration and cohesion. You need to explore a bit more when you come into different countries and have friends, British or Ghana or Indian or Jamaican. So the culture doesn't really kill you that much, because I feel like sometimes as black people, as Africans, we are quick to use the word being racist. Sometimes you're probably misunderstanding the culture instead of it being of any racist type. Let's talk about. I like our audience people to understand what is the difference between, because you've lived both, and I'm fascinated to know certain things that you feel are different in Ghana and in England. Would you pinpoint any? Would you say I've lived both lives? I can categorically, or I can tell you things that I used to do in Ghana don't happen here, or things that happen here don't happen in Ghana. Do you have any?
Yeah. I mean, I think for me the biggest shock is the lack of community in the UK. And as being a pharmacist on the front line of patients and communities, I can see how that's beginning to kill the community in the UK. People are becoming more and more selfish. People are becoming more and more not caring for people around them. You know, people are becoming more and more lonely.
Yes.
You know, so the spike that we have in mental health, which I'm sure we'll talk about later, is largely, in my opinion, from the breakage of community in the UK. So because the community is splitting apart, it is beginning to affect people, because people are made for community. That's where Africa, I think we excel. You know, so there may be a lot of poverty and lots of struggle, but the happiness that's seen in Africa, in Ghana, even now, I know it is phenomenal. And I went back to Ghana last month to bury my dad, and we went to this slum. It's a really, really poor area of Ghana. But all you see is the happiness, you know, children running around. I mean, the joy that you see in Africa is I've not seen here before, you know. And
if Africa knew about mental health, I'm sure 99% of them will be in institution. But we don't have that. It's all joy. It's all smiles. Because without money, without like good living, you want to call it, we're always just smiling. We are happy. I resonate with that. Yes.
100%.
What about in Ghana? That's what's lacking in Britain. That sort of community based. There's a lot of. I mean, in my last conversation, we talked about loneliness. There's a lot, and a lot right now is happening in men, and mental health. What about in Ghana? What is it that is in Ghana different in Ghana?
So obviously there's a bad side of Ghana as well. So lack of trust is my biggest issue in Ghana because of the poverty. It's very, for me, when I started a couple of businesses in Ghana. The biggest issue that we had was people to trust. You know, because there's this impression that because you're in the UK, you have all the money.
Yes.
Yeah, you are rich. You are so if you send money home for you to start a business with,
you find another.
The guy got money, let's spend it. You know. So for me, the biggest issue that I had in Ghana is lack of trust, and also people don't. I think it's the thinking as well. You know, we don't. I mean, I don't know whether it's the same in Zimbabwe, but in Ghana, people tend to settle. You know, people that are exposed tend to settle. They don't want to aspire for big things, and those are the two things that, for me, I found it difficult to understand. You know, the lack of trust, particularly because Ghanaians and Africans are very religious, but for some reason, the religion there's no time with the lifestyle, you know. So you think that because people go to church and people or Muslims, so they go to the mosque and so people are more trustworthy, but actually that's not the case. And it's something I still wrestle with now.
Because Africa is, I think, is the most praying continent.
Yeah, 100%.
So if you follow biblically, you think then they're supposed to be the most trustworthy. But you are saying.
Yeah, that's my issue. I mean, some people may disagree, but for me, I mean, we'll talk about this later on, but I'm sure. I know when I went bankrupt and I lost hundreds of thousands of pounds in Africa, it was because of lack of trust. You know, you meet people and you think, oh, I can trust this guy to do the business with me. You sign the contracts, you start the business, and the guy's been swindling you along. You know? So I mean, that's what the first book came up in the price. End up losing hundreds of thousands of pounds. Yeah, it's a lot of money to lose.
I think we have discussed that before.
So that was came to lack of trust. You know,
it is.
So it's not all rosy, like we say. There are also bad parts of Africa that we sometimes don't talk about a lot. But yeah,
let's talk about someone who is in Africa right now, is thinking about what should he do, where can he go. Do you think we have romanticized abroad? Like we've made abroad look so good that we think as Africans going abroad is the best achievement since the birth certificate.
100%. 100% agree with you. When I go to Ghana now, all I can see, so in Africa, I've traveled around Africa, a lot of countries, and all you can see coming from here, going back, is the opportunities.
Yeah.
There's so many opportunities, to make money, to do good things,
Yes.
to break through. But Africans are not seeing them. It's there because all they see is the bad side. All they see is the lack of luck. All they see is the struggle.
Do they see, Steve, or that's what they've been taught or told?
Yes.
Yes.
It's probably, yes.
It's been engraved
Yes.
into their minds.
Yes.
Generation after generation
Yes.
that Africa is poor.
100%.
And we're just passing the baton.
Yes.
On and on and on and on, generation by generation of thinking Africa is poor. My next question to you, Steve, is about, have we underestimated Africa as Africans? Do we underestimate ourselves as Africans?
Yes, very much so. And it took me a long time to be able to break out of that mold.
Yeah.
Even now, I've become quite accomplished. For instance, Chasing Permanence now has been nominated for the Book of the Year in the UK, which is a huge award.
That's huge.
Yeah, massive thing.
Yes.
But when I see fellow authors who are in the same league as I am now, I still think they're better. I'm worse than them.
Yeah.
And people always telling me off, because you meet an author. I spoke to one yesterday, a very, very famous author in the UK, bestseller. And we are all nominated for the British Book Awards, both of us, on the same level.
Yeah.
But when I see him, I think he's greater than me.
He's
I think
bigger
he's
than me,
bigger.
yes.
Because maybe he's white, because maybe he's lived there all his life.
Yes.
And so is that inferiority complex is deeply ingrained in us, and it takes a long time to fight it out. And for me, it's still there. It's still something I battle with, and I have to keep reminding myself,
Yeah.
actually, Stephen, you are actually the same as these guys, if not better.
Yeah.
Same as a pharmacist. I went to pharmacy, did my pharmacy degree in a small university, small country, a university that nobody's heard of. You come here, people have done their degrees in Cambridge,
Yeah.
they've done their degrees in Oxford.
Yeah.
But when I'm practicing as a pharmacist,
You get to see.
I can see that, I'm better.
Yeah.
Because of the struggles that we've been through, because of the way we've been taught,
Yeah.
the resilience, the way we
yes.
think.
Yeah.
Because in Africa, there's always a lot of luck.
That's correct.
So you have to find a way to
Yes.
circumvent the luck,
Yes.
And you bring that same kind of thinking here. So, for instance, here, somebody has come, there's no medicine for a particular patient. A British trained, not all the time, but a British trained pharmacist, so we don't have it, go away. We don't have it, come back later.
You try.
But because of the way we've been taught in Africa,
trying to find.
we're trying to find a way
alternatives.
around. And then, so we find out a lot of African pharmacists here are very, very popular.
Yes.
And it comes from the way we've been.
I mean, let me take you back a bit, Steve. This is a scenario I want to give. So I think it resonates with what you were just saying. If an African arrives in Britain, you don't get a reception. But just imagine you took your one white person back to your village. See how much joy we give them. Do you think that in itself says a lot?
Yeah.
In terms of our mentality.
Yeah.
When a white person visited my village, there's a shock, there's joy that person is here, but that person could be really an average British, living here maybe to an extent on benefits, but because it's just white, we put them in a very big pedestal. Even until now, we're talking about colonial happened many years back, and we're still doing the same. Is that the mindset I think we should shift from if we really want to strive as a continent? And what I'm saying now is not even only in Zimbabwe, in Ghana, it's across the continent.
100%. Yeah. And I was shocked because my parents lived my mother lived in the UK for 15 years. Yeah. When Obama became president, and I'll never forget this, and she saw Obama as a president, she said, how come a black man can get to this point?
Yeah.
I look at my mother and say, you've lived in the UK for 15 years.
Yes.
Yeah. You gave birth to me in the UK, and you still think,
I cannot get there.
how can a black man become a president? So I'm thinking,
So automatically our minds
yes,
are set that
yes, we shouldn't be there.
it comes in as well. Like, for example, if you become successful in your life, 1 out of 10 kids, one becomes successful through hard work, through luck. Maybe we even win a lottery. We always associate ourselves to juju. It's like, I think he has done something. That's why he's got this. Because in your mind, you cannot think that a black person
100%.
can get to that level of success.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's annoying. Even now, I always come back to the books, for instance, but it's ingrained. When someone sometimes say so a lot of white guys call me that don't write books, and they say, "Oh, Stephen, you've written a book. They've done really, really well. Is it self-published?" So automatically, because I'm Ghanaian and I'm black, they assume that the book was published by me. You do understand? Even though the book was published by one of the biggest publishers in the world,
yes,
they automatically assume
that you've done it yourself.
I've done it myself because I'm black and I'm African. How can I come and write about the high streets in the UK?
Yeah,
So we also go through this kind of racism ourselves here as well. But it's up to us. I mean, you've done this well, Tendai. It's up to us to be able to rise up.
That's correct.
That's why I love your podcast. Raise with us.
Yes,
you have to be able to raise.
Of course, yes. Let's all move together.
Yes.
I'm gonna get off script a bit, Steve. I know you don't want to talk about the book, but there's a main story here in this book that I think we should touch on a little bit. Many people seeing you don't think that you've gone through an illness that almost took your life and changed the story of your journey as a human being. Tell us more about that, because that way paying the price and the resilience you did mention growing up in Ghana. Just give us a few, I'll give you a few minutes just to tell us that particular story in terms of we're not meant here to sell any books or anything, but I think we should get hold of this book. If you're a reader, I think it's important that you just go and look at it. Tell us more, Steve, about that resilience and how you, as a pharmacist, you're expected. Many people don't think doctors get ill because they're doctors, but don't realize we are human beings. Tell us that time. Because I'm you have shared this story with me before, and I feel like it's important because some people, we can't just sit here and talk about the good stuff, make as if we are now making AI stories now. We just want to really make it authentic, so it sounds not so it sounds, but it's original. And I know you have a story that we can share for like 2 minutes or so with our audience.
So I developed epilepsy basically, and I didn't know I had it. One day I'd gone to the gym and I was driving to work in my brand new, I was very proud of myself because I bought myself a brand new Passat in those days.
Yes.
Yeah, I was driving, I was listening to, I don't know what Tupac was, I was listening to. I was loving life.
Yes.
And then suddenly everything went black. And I crashed my car into a taxi driver in 2012. And I was diagnosed with epilepsy. And since then, it has always been there.
Yeah.
So coming back to what you said about black people not believing in ourselves, I always felt the need that I could write a book. Okay, write from when I was little. But I never had the confidence to write it. I always thought, there's no way I can write a book, and I didn't want to write about racism or equality. If you go to most bookshops,
yes,
if you look at the black authors, that's all we write about, DEI. And I didn't want to write a book about that. I wanted to write a book about entrepreneurship and business and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I never had the confidence to write it. I thought, who am I? I'm a little boy in Plymouth. Come from Ghana, who knows me, blah, 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 all the things that we say to ourselves as black people. So one day I was at home, and the epilepsy was coming and going. So, and had another fit in 2016, crashed the car again, so I gave up. I said, I'm not going to drive again. So I was upstairs at home, just minding my own business, and I had a massive epileptic fit upstairs. And I came crashing down. From the stairs. Yes, and I went straight into a radiator. I lost blood everywhere, and I fell into a coma. Well, and I remember my wife was screaming. I wanted to call an ambulance. There were cuts all over my back, and then suddenly I saw myself holding a book. And that's the thing. I don't know whether it was people call it an epiphany. When this happened to you. So when I got up, I thought to myself, this is the time. If I don't write this book, I'll be dead one day, and all the stuff I have with me is going to be gone. It's going to be gone. So I sat down, and my wife thought I was crazy because there was blood everywhere. There were cuts. I still have scars on my body if I take them off. But all I said to my wife was, I need to write this book.
Yeah.
So I sat down and wrote the book. We just paid the price. It took me 4 months. It was all done, and then the challenge then was to find a publisher. To publish it. I didn't want to self-publish. I wanted the book to be a high-quality book. It can be in Waterstones. It can be all over the world.
Yeah.
So when I finished, I couldn't get anyone to publish the book again because I was black. Again, because people tell you stay in your lane, write about DEI. This book was not about DEI.
Yeah.
So 25 publishers turned me down. I went from publisher to publisher to publisher. They all turned me down. I said, Steve, we don't know you. They obviously don't tell you are black, but you know that's the reason why.
I know.
You know that's the reason why.
Yes.
So finally, I found a publisher in the US that was willing to publish it.
Wow.
So when the book came out, we went straight to #1 in 18 categories from Amazon, in the US and in Ghana and in the UK. Sorry, it sold thousands of copies in the first day. It's won numerous awards, and that convinced me that as Africans, we have something to offer.
Yeah.
You know, we have something to offer. And the book came out about, like you were saying, about my the way I've been brought up in Ghana and all that.
Yeah.
Made the book completely different because I talked about business in Africa. Strive Masiwa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the book.
It's in there. Nobody had heard of him.
If you're from Zimbabwe, Strive Masiwa is in the book.
Yes, Strive Masiwa, nobody heard of him.
Yeah.
You know, lots of businesses that nobody had heard of in Africa. So when people bought the book and they rang me, I had lots of phone calls, podcasts, and people were shocked.
Yeah.
People were shocked that you have a billionaire in Africa, Strive Masiwa, who has invested in companies in the US.
That's correct.
In the UK, you know, so I was able to expose Africa in a very that nobody knew about.
Yes.
And so that's one of the proudest things that I think I've achieved with the book. Like people got to know about Africa in a different way.
Yes.
And now it's Waterstones. Going to Waterstones. It's looking at Waterstones.
It's still in the Waterstones, yes. It's moved on and then did another book called Chasing Permanence. So please, if you got time, go and reach out to that book. He has actually done a very good job for us. He says these books on behind me right now, they're available to our viewers. So please, when we put up this post, comment, share, for you to be able to get a copy of Steve Adjei's #1 author book. Let me take you back to the position of Africa. I mean, I'm interested in this topic because I really want us to deeply think. I've been taking the journeys for the past 3 years. You know me now. To try and explore my country, Africa, specific, my hometown, Rusape, and see what I can do. How can I contribute to the community, and how can I bypass all these challenges we've talked about of trust and etc. in terms of Africa. What role should the diasporans, people who are in diaspora, doesn't mean to be in UK only, can be anywhere across the world. It could be from someone who's in Nigeria, lived in Ghana. It could be someone, from South Africa who's a Zimbabwean, or any diaspora. What role should they play in Africa's future? I feel like we, because I'm included, we hold Africa in our hands going forward. We should not be expecting missionaries to come anymore. What do you think?
Yeah, I think 3 things that we need to do as a diaspora. The first thing is our narrative.
Yes.
We speak worse about our country than other people do. And I'm very sad. I'm on a few chats on WhatsApp. And I look at my fellow Africans, how they are dissing their own continents.
Yes.
It makes me sad because a lot of us, yes, Africans have gone through tough times.
Yes.
But Africa has a lot of, even technologically. I remember last month, Kirsten was on the TV talking about the English identity card. There was a big issue about it. Ghana has an identity card years back.
Yes.
When I'm traveling to Ghana, I don't take a passport. I just go to, I'm trying to go to Ghana. No, I don't take my passport. I just show my identity card. Done. The identity card is my driving license.
Yeah.
It's my health insurance. It's my passports. It's everything's on that card. Just one.
It's already happening.
It's all happening.
When it happens here, it's a whole
huge issue.
They're inventing.
No. It's happening here. Mobile phones. I can send money to someone on mobile phone.
Mobile money, yes.
Mobile money.
So now when people are walking around with their phones and they make it as if it's magic.
No.
We've been doing it.
We've been doing it for years.
So I must see if already understood the assignment long time ago.
Yes, people are trading. What about cocoa farmer who is on top of his cocoa tree? Trading in stocks.
On top of a cocoa
tree. Cocoa tree. So these are things that we do in Africa, which are we have leapfrogged the West when it comes to technology. But all you hear about us doing is just dissing
Africa
because of the problems that we're having. The second thing is you mentioned this: it's not just sending money and remittances and stuff.
Yes,
it is participating actively in
Yes.
Africa's future.
Yes.
And that means that sharing your knowledge, sharing not in a proud way, because we always have much to learn. When I go to Africa, I learn a lot.
Yeah.
But sharing your knowledge, sharing your expertise, and also investing in companies, proper companies. When I went there last year, when I went to Africa last year, we were talking about setting up a company. I will probably talk about it later, which would bring revolutionary healthcare to Africa.
I think we've talked about
Yeah,
that.
we talked about this before. Yes,
Yes.
we started.
Yeah.
And it's very simple.
Yeah.
And that's how Diaspora, because it's not that we are better, but when you are outside the continent, you can see
Yes.
with different lens.
Yes.
Isn't it? If you are in it, you sometimes you see, oh, you see
It's like seeing someone's marriage. I said, how are you struggling?
Yes.
You're seeing it from outside,
Exactly.
isn't it? But being in it is different.
Absolutely. I mean, you feel that's correct. I mean, I love my wife. My life is so, I have the best marriage in the world. So please don't.
Yes.
But that's exactly what it is. So when you are zoom out of Africa,
Yeah.
you can zoom in and see
That's correct.
how things can be done well and better. And I feel that that's one thing that the Diaspora should be doing well. So basically, one is stop dissing the continent and spread the good word about
yes.
Africa.
Yes.
Not just by by your word, but also by the way you live your life.
Yeah.
And and you are the same thing that we are paranoid about quality. If you're going to write a book, if you're going to do your job as an African, do it to the best of your ability. Because the way you are living your life here is also a reflection.
That's correct.
Yeah, on your continent. It's a reflection on your color.
That's
It's a reflection on your people around you. Because you hear all the time if somebody does something wrong, and I've heard this all the time as pharmacists, where you have a pharmacist that's done something maybe from Nigeria or Ghana that's done something, made a mistake or done something stupid. It reflects on me because you go the next day to go that pharmacist from Nigeria, look how it's done, and they're trying to say that actually all Africans are like that.
Yes.
So that's one thing that we need to look at. We need to live our lives here for top quality, which I don't know about.
Just spinning that up, I think you've just hit the nail there. I like the way you've just spoken there. Are we basically are we thinking big as Africans, or there's something we are really missing? The bigger picture is, I've said this before. I said I believe again Africa is going to be the biggest continent in the world. It's going to be, but who is going to get it there? I think now it's a question now. Is it again the British? Is it again the Americans or our new friends, the Chinese? Or is it us Africans? What do you think? I mean, there's an influx of Chinese in our continent. I don't know how they are in Ghana. But every time I took a plane to Zimbabwe, Ethiopian airline, I think 35 to 40%. Are these Indonesian guys, Chinese guys, of course, linking with the mining and all that. Where should we fit ourselves as black people now? Talking about the future of our continent, which space should we take ourselves as brothers? Yeah, think big.
We should think big. I mean, when I was in Ghana, most of the companies that were the big companies were owned by the Lebanese. Okay. So when I was in Ghana, we had a high respect for the Lebanese. Don't know if I know these guys Lebanese, because they all have big companies. When I came to the UK. And I saw Lebanon, where it was being bombed by Israel, and all the stuff that we're going to see. I'm thinking, these are the guys who are coming to our continents and making multi. What is it that they are doing that you don't understand? So, every continent has been shaped by the people that live with it. It's not from outside.
Yes.
So we need to believe that we can do this. I have hope. I'm very optimistic about Africa.
I share that.
It saddens me when people come from other continents and see the potential and exploit it.
Yes.
Whilst we don't see it ourselves.
That's correct.
And then we end up worshipping them, because we think that because they are white, they've come there because they're white. No, they're not coming because they're white. They've seen the opportunity and they've gone for it.
Yes.
You see, and we are seeing the opportunity. I mean, instead of looking at it, we're looking at the bad side of it.
We're concentrating a lot on the bad side. You're very correct there. I mean, since you've been back from the time you were there, a young person up to 29, what sort of things have you seen recently? You've gone back, i.e., I can tell you in Zimbabwe, there's a lot of construction going on, there's a lot of building. What are the things that since you've gone back, you'll be like, wow, Ghana is. it might not grow as a country, but in portion, people are working hard. There's certain things that you've gone out and see and feel like, I think we are, even though it's not big margins, we're not talking about people building Apple, plans or anything, but you can really see the change. You can see the difference from 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
100%. Every time I go back to Ghana, I'm always amazed. Always amazed about people don't see it, but when I go back and I see, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, Ghana's roads were not named. No, okay, had no names. You just grew up into a road. They'll say, if I'm going somewhere, it's the road by the apple tree, by the
left,
apple tree.
that tree.
But you see the bird. No. And I went to Ghana and all the roads were named. So within a year, every single road in Ghana is named.
Yes.
Which, yeah. I mean, it's like an airport, had a really bad airports. I went to Ghana, they said they were building an airport. I went to Ghana like 3 or 4 years ago. The airport was ready. I could not believe the quality of the airport. I spent less time in Accra Airport than I did in Heathrow.
Yeah.
I went to Accra Airport, took out my Ghana card, showed the Ghana card. Within 3 months, I was out of the airport. 3 minutes. 10 minutes, I was done. People, the youth.
There's growth.
Oh, yeah, 100%. The youth, they are more exposed now. People are more educated. And so, yeah, I'm amazed at the progress. I mean, for Ghana has been making. I haven't traveled to other countries in a while.
Yeah.
Even the governments, the democracy is now become established.
Yes.
And it's maturing.
Yes.
Obviously, it comes with challenges as well.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. People are becoming more selfish and all that stuff. But when I go to Ghana, I'm always amazed at the pace of developments. It's very, very quick. And if you continue the way we are doing now, and we have more diasporans believing in the continents.
Yes,
I really believe that Africa in 20 years now, 20 years time, when we have all
when we are,
we'll be way, way ahead.
Yeah.
Especially, I'm very encouraged when I see the youth. I'm very, very encouraged with how intelligent they become. Some of them are
smart. Yes.
And they're in Ghana, they're in Ghana, university in Ghana, but yeah, I'm encouraged.
I told you, Steve Adjei is not just it's a different guest. I like when people speak positively and see future and see ahead of our continent. And I'm amazed about how Steve is putting it across, because he's been to Africa. He has traveled to Africa of recent. There's so many people who portray Africa and they've not been there for the past 10 years. And they're like, it's bad. I'm like, they're reading through 100%. Social media or 100%. Through BBC 100%. Or through, BBC, I know I'm mentioning you a lot. I'm giving an example. You're not alone. There's plenty of you out there. So we are seeing, we are looking through that needle, that wolf needle, but we're not seeing a bigger picture. And if you have traveled to Africa, it's not happening only in Ghana. I've been to Zim. I can see changes. Same thing that you mentioned about airport. They've also built a new airport now. In Zimbabwe now, when you go from the airport, same thing. 2 minutes, boom, 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 you're out. Before, probably could miss your bag. You wait for your bag for like 2 days at least. But now, I can easily say things are improving. People are expecting a sharp, a quick return. But sometimes, you remember all these countries, including Britain themselves, they have a history. If you go back to their history as well, they struggled, and so forth and so forth. Now, let's talk about communities, Steve, because you're a very strong community man. Why do some communities thrive and some fail? And I'm talking communities, I think African community fails most of the time. Why? Most of the times, I think, i.e., I'm from Zimbabwe. I live in Plymouth. The only community I know is 4 or 5 my friends that we drink together, and that's it. Right now, if someone from Zimbabwe dies here, I don't think we probably end up by desperation putting something together, but we're not united. We're not doing anything that is. I know some people do. I know the Congolese community. There's Ghana community. I'm not sure. I don't know. There's a Nigerian community, because there's also a bit of big flux in Plymouth of Nigerian community, for example. But some of these communities as well, if they are of black, they can be also derived from looking for sponsorships, and i.e. they're not really family oriented. We talk about Africans as people who are Ubuntu, who are together, but when they come off shores, there's so much individualism. You talk about how can we be lonely in a community like you mentioned? There's a community in UK, but we are lonely. Why is it that, Steve, if you give us your thoughts?
I think it's two things, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The first thing is when we come here, we want to be too much like a white man. We try to forget the fact that we have something better in us.
Yes.
Of course, Britain has a lot of things that are good as well, but we forget. We forget these things. And then I'm the first person to admit.
Yeah.
And I felt ashamed to say this, but when I came to Plymouth, when I came to England, Plymouth, and I see my fellow black man, instead of me to go to them and shake their hand and say, how are you? For instance, because I'm relatively well educated, sometimes you're in work and these guys come straight from Ghana, Nigeria, Zimbabwe. They've come in, you can see their hairs all good. They're still raw.
Yeah.
And instead of me to go and embrace them and say, how you doing? I feel ashamed.
Yeah.
And so you begin to withdraw. Yeah,
yes.
You don't want people to associate yourself with them, And that's looking back for me, that was a deep regret of my life.
Yes.
And that is what sometimes lets us to separate, because you think you are better. You have a better education.
Because you've been here for a long
time. Man. I have a better job. I went to one of the best schools. You've just come from some village and you want to be like me.
That's how I felt when I saw you when I was driving my Range Rover.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yes.
So that's the first thing that we forget. And the second thing is that we let little things divide us. If you look at
little
the
things.
little things. If you look at the Jew, I'm very strong friends with the Kurdish people community. Yeah. And they're not like that. When they come, they have a sense of purpose. Okay. We always talk about why have the Kurds opened so many barber shops? Why have the Kurds opened so many restaurants? And we think that sometimes they're money laundering. And no.
I think the British, they're trying to put like a...
Yeah. Okay. But actually, when I've sat down with the Kurdish, I employ Kurdish people in my business. When you sit down with the Kurdish people and you eat in their restaurants, you can see they have a bond.
Yes.
So when the Kurdish man wants to start a business, he knows that if he goes to Halifax, don't give him a loan.
No.
He can't speak English. He's come over the boats. So what does he do? He goes to his fellow Kurdish people. They all come together, give him some money to start a business. And then they start.
Yes.
By the time you realize they have a wonderful barber shop, they have a wonderful restaurant, and they're doing well because they have that kind of, they're all going for the same goal.
Yes.
Whenever I go to a Kurdish restaurant, to cut this haircuts was done by a Kurdish guy. I asked him, well, do you know this restaurant in town? So yeah, guy is my friend, But if I went to Africa, if I went to an African restaurant, I so did somebody know Tendai? No, nobody knows. Nobody knows who you are. Even though you are a very accomplished, successful man in the community. So when we come here, we seem to allow little things to divide us. We are not pulling the same direction anymore.
Yes.
Whereas the Kurdish, the Jews, and the thing about communities, if I'm in a community, the money and the wealth begin to appreciate, in the united community.
Yeah.
The money goes better, but it comes richer.
That's correct. Yeah.
If the community is divided, the money doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah,
because if I'm Kurdish, I want to go eat my food. I'm not going to go to a British restaurant.
No.
I'm going to go to my fellow Kurdish.
That's correct.
Yeah. If I want to buy something, I'm going to go to my Kurdish. Exactly.
Yeah.
But Africans want to buy something,
they go somewhere else. They don't support.
And I've said it. For instance, now everything I wear this to work.
Yeah.
My whole wardrobe has changed. I buy just only now from SMEs for African. That's what
you do.
That's what I do.
Yes.
I've stopped buying Adidas. And no. So this thing was made by an SME who does t-shirts for Africa, and that's all I wear. I wear it to church. I wear it to everywhere I go. That's what I wear.
That's good. In Plymouth?
Yeah. No. It's in London, but
London. Yes. Okay. Are we lacking leadership in our communities, Steve Adjei? I'll probably bring this a bit home. Plymouth. Are we lacking leadership? Is it the main issue? Because someone has to start it, or someone has to drive it. It can't just happen. Or the leadership of today is now like a candy floss leadership, like the one that the fire, the paper fire, where it goes and then it goes. Or is that the real issue? Or we are becoming so too individual? I think you've mentioned that before. People are tunnel visioned on their own success. Me. What do you think? Is it a leadership issue?
So do you mean in the UK or in general?
In general, communities, yes. In communities. It could be in a small town in Ghana, Accra, whatever. In Zimbabwe, Lusape, Anyway, leaderships in communities. Like I said, you could also, I need to be blunt here. You also, let's say you take Tendai now to become the leader of this community, and automatically I'm thinking, I've made it. I'm now collecting everything now, giving it to my cousin, to my auntie, before you know it, my 2-year term is finished and I've done nothing for the community.
Yes,
I've taken. Is that really our problem, leadership, and how do you overcome that?
Yes, it's a big problem. And I used to wonder why we have this problem in Africa. So I did a lot of research about, I read a lot of books into it. And this problem stems back from the slave trade, believe it or not. So the reason why we are like this is because in the olden days, when the slave traders used to come to maybe Ghana, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Congo, wherever, we used to give our own people away. So you don't know, maybe I'm still with you now. The ship comes, I'll sell you don't understand. So even though you understand, so that's where it starts from. And it's not just Africa, it's across all the countries, it's across there. So that has built, and then colonialism came into it as well.
Yes.
Where we began to give more respect to the British when they came to colonize us. So that has formed, I think, an impression, which comes back to what you're saying, of inferiority complex and not trusting each other, not believing that we can do. So even somebody becomes a leader and they're really, really good, sometimes the followers try to sabotage him.
That's correct. Yes.
And that is a remnant of the slave trade and a remnant of colonialism as well. But like you said, it is not. It's a reason. It's not an excuse.
Yes.
We now have to begin to look back and say, actually, this will happen to us,
but
we can choose differently.
Yes.
We can choose differently from our children. We can choose differently from our lives. And when these things sneak in, we need to recognize that this is a third party that has been given to us for generations and generations. And this happened. I mean, I work in very poor communities in Plymouth, and you can see the trend. Devonport, for instance, is one of the poorest communities in the UK.
Yes.
And I've worked in Devonport for 16 years. You can see the trend. Somebody whose grandmother was a drug addict, gave birth to the mother, who's not a drug addict, gave birth to the son, and it continues. So it gets to a point where, and I've seen a few people in Devonport that have broken that cycle. They get to a point, actually, no, my mother was this, my brother.
I'm not doing that.
I'm not doing that anymore.
That's what we need to do as Africans.
Yes.
Colonial was there.
Yes.
Slavery was there.
Yes.
But let's get to a time where we say, yes, it happens.
Yes.
We embrace it.
100%.
Let's unchain ourselves and move forward.
And it takes intentionality to do that. So it takes intentionality to do these things. And the leaders that we have sometimes default back to this kind of thinking. They default back, and as people, we default back to the kind of thinking of the inferiority complex. We default back to the colonial way of thinking. Default to the way that we're not good enough. Default to let me grab something quickly because it may not be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
And those things really, really are to our detriments, because we don't want to. If you collaborate, you're saying this off air, isn't it? When we collaborate together, do things together, things become much better. Instead of trying to do the thing by myself. Africans like to be, I'm the main man.
Yes.
Come to me.
Come to me.
Yes.
I'm the guy.
I'm the savior. I'm the messiah.
I'm Boo Boo.
Yeah.
Steve, I want to put you in a spot here. Yeah. 2 scenarios. Yes. One, an African young man in Africa right now. What would you tell him? What advice would you give him? You have lived both worlds. You're born here, back to Ghana, back to UK. Now you travel frequently between the two, setting up business in Ghana, businesses here in the UK, best author, you're writing books, marriage, 2 kids, I think they're university level now. What would you tell a young man in Africa who is maybe just probably finishing a degree finishing a degree? I think it's a very good time when you start not to explore the world. What would you say to him?
Believe. You need to believe.
Yes. That's
one thing I'll teach you about Africa. If you're an African and you are young, this is the best time, in my opinion, to invest in Africa. You need to believe.
Yes.
Because we come here all the time and there's nothing really major, here. People come here and do well. But the most successful people I've seen are people that stayed in Africa and have been entrepreneurs in Africa.
Yeah.
That's my personal view of people that I've seen, known as in Ghana, you say fili, people that you've met face to face.
Yes.
And some of these people were very little when I was living in Ghana. And I'll go back to them now, they're all multi-millionaires. And they made their career in Ghana. I remember we went to, I was in Nigeria once. I met these young guys who I just finished Nigeria. When they wanted to travel and we had a chat. I said, look, guys, Nigeria is big. You're a pharmacist. You can make it here. And we tried to coach them a little bit in 2015. And they're called Drugstock.
Yeah.
They are now worth over $20 million. They built a huge manufacturing facility, and they've made it.
Yeah.
You know, I can name people after people.
Yeah.
Friends of mine that I've known, and that's what sometimes I wonder. They're coming to the UK. Was it a good thing?
Yes, you did say that.
Or is it a bad thing? You know, sometimes I'm not quite. It's a good thing the fact I've got the exposure. If I win books in Ghana, they may not have influenced
Yes.
people that they are now. But looking back as well, people are and that have really believed in their capabilities, believed in the continents, have really done well.
Yes. And what would you tell a young man here who's grew up here, born here, grew up here from African descent? I think those people right now, they've got lack of identity, lack of direction. What would you say to one, if you get hold of one right now, what would you tell him based on your experience?
I'll say you should embrace both. I have two kids, one boy and one girl, or one man and one woman, to the university now. And they're completely different.
Yep.
Okay. They were brought up in the same home, by the same parents,
Yep.
but they're completely different. My little girl feels very African. You know, she's been 3 or 4 times, but she loves the continents. She's always reading about the continents. My other boy is very British.
Yes.
Just that. Ideally, wants something in between the two. They should be proud of their heritage of being British.
Of course, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They grew up
but they should also be, they grew up here. But they should also be proud of their heritage of being Ghanaian, or being African. And I take a lot of inspiration from the hip hop guys that we have in here. Stormzy.
Yeah.
You know, Heidi One.
Yeah.
And all these guys. Stormzy is very British. But he loves Ghana.
Yes.
You know, he's very proud of his Ghanaian heritage.
Yeah.
He's sung songs with Ghanaians.
Yeah.
You know, Heidi One. I know Heidi One. Heidi One is the top drill artist in the UK now.
Yeah.
Ghanaian.
Yeah.
He's very proud of Ghana. He goes to Ghana all the time.
Yeah.
You know. So even though he raps about England, you can see when he's rapping about, he brings the Ghanaian stuff into it as well.
That's correct.
But he's very proudly British.
Yes.
You know, Stormzy's first album. If you look at the album, he's holding a pillow with a British flag on it.
Yeah.
He's very British.
Yeah.
But also he embraces his Ghanaian heritage as well. You know? So you can, both of them you can hold both. It's not one or the other.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a proud British.
Yeah.
You know, I'm proud I'm English. I'm proud to be born in this country. I'm proud of this country.
Yeah.
I'm really behind England, but I also love Ghana.
Yeah.
I love Ghana a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and the two of them don't have to be in tension.
No.
You know, I keep thinking to myself, if Ghana and England are in the same group in the World Cup, I know I'll support Ghana.
Yes,
Obviously,
yes.
I can't support England.
That's
Ghana,
correct.
I don't know.
Yes.
But I'm cheering England to do well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you understand? So both of them, it's not either or. You can have both.
Steve, you've done a lot already in your life. You're still a very young man. What do you want to be remembered for?
So for me, I want to inspire the next generation of Africans.
Yes.
Yeah. That for that they can break out of the mold. Yeah. If there's one thing that I would like, this is to do with Africa, obviously.
Yes.
I would like to be remembered as somebody who broke the mold, you know, and inspired generations of Africans behind him. You know, and that is why I've gone to such a hard time.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I'm probably one of the first Africans in the UK who's written a book that talks about racism
Yes.
or equality. You know, I'm probably one of the first. Second book, Chasing Permanence, is about the high streets.
High streets.
Yeah.
Yeah. In
I'm
England.
probably, I'm probably the first African who's written about the British high streets.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
And it's all about trying to inspire people to break out of the mold. You know, we can contribute meaningfully and massively. And I would like to think that when I'm not here, in the next 20, 30, 40 years,
Yeah.
I'll be able to be remembered as someone who inspired,
Yes.
not just Africa, but also the minority communities, Kurdish, and all these people that feel that they cannot contribute meaningfully
Yes.
to the economy, to think that they have. I mean, I'm privileged, like I said, I'm a bridge builder. You know, I've been able to have very close friends who are British, white British,
Yeah.
and also have very close friends who are also African. I can function in both worlds seamlessly.
Yeah.
You know, I can move here
without
and go.
pressure. Yeah.
I can be the same person in both.
Yeah.
And I hope that Africans who are coming behind us can also find the world as an integrated world.
That's
You know,
correct.
where they can be part of an integrated world.
Yes.
Where they can flourish both in Africa and also in the UK.
In the UK.
That would like
Wow, that's well said. I can't say more than that. I'm very Pan-African. What kind of Africa do you want to see or hope for the future generation to inherit? What would you want to pass on? You talk about 20, 30 years, you'll be still around. What would you want to pass on to the Africa you want to pass on? Just paint the picture of what you think in 30 years' time. That's a very good number, I think. We have mentioned earlier in our conversation that there's a lot of diasporans who are believing 20 years, 15 years, Africa will be different, or Ghana, to be specific, or Zimbabwe. I believe so as well. There's a lot of growth that's taking place in Zim. But what Africa would you want the next generation to inherit? What are your wishes?
I want an Africa that's vibrant and confident in its identity. You know, that we don't have to depend on Chinese or Indians or Lebanese or English people to run our content for us. You know, when I was in Turkey, I was in Istanbul last week. I was coming back with my wife and 2 Sierra Leoneans, and they said something that made me very sad. They have built a brand new airport in Freetown, and the airport is being run now by Turkish people. Okay, and the one said to me, if this airport was being run by Sierra Leoneans, the airport would be destroyed. That made me sad.
Oh,
that's even her as a Sierra Leonean.
She doesn't.
Yeah, you've lived in the UK for all your life.
Yeah.
And you still think that your fellow people cannot run an airport.
Can run an airport.
You know. So I want an African that's confident in its identity.
Yeah.
Both here, the diaspora, and also those in Africa.
Those in Africa.
I think confidence in ourselves as Africans is the key to prosperity. If we're able to be confident in our identity and not have to be afraid or have to make excuses for being African. You know, sometimes, and I'm getting to a point now where I pronounce a word and the word sounds African and people laugh at me. I say, no, that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how you pronounce. Yeah. Everybody has an accent.
Of course, everyone has.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why is that your accent is better than mine?
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I've always said that actually. Just to comment on that. When someone said, I don't know, my name is Sarah, they expect you to know Sarah.
Yeah.
I'm like, even though in your language there's no Sarah, there's Sarah. In my language there's Sarah, there's no Sarah. But you know, it's the same. Sarah. We don't. So that expectation, we need to break that.
Yes.
We need to challenge that and say, listen, I can't hear you. I'm a British.
Yes.
So speak.
Exactly.
Yes. This is how. Yeah. I think that confidence you're talking about, an confident African.
Yes.
In their identity, in their skin.
Yes.
Yes. That's very powerful.
Yes, that's for me. That is the key. The day that Africans can be confident in their identity, and we're not looking towards the white man, we're looking towards the Indian or the Lebanese or the Chinese, is the day I finally feel that. And we are getting there. I mean, when I go to Ghana, I'm encouraged. Before, when I was in Ghana, when I was young, there used to be, or everybody used to be called Stephen or Joseph. Or now I'm going to Ghana, and all my kids all have got Ghanaian names, and it's the trend now.
It's the trend now.
Yeah. People give kids,
the names,
and the Ghanaian names. Obviously, you have the same thing in Zimbabwe now. So it's that kind of thing that I'm seeing, and if we continue in that trend, you know,
you don't see William.
No. So I think the confidence that we have in ourselves as Africans is the key. Once you have that confidence and belief that we can change our continents, everything else will follow.
I don't like to touch too much on politics when I'm on my podcast, Steve. But what word would you give to our leaders? Because of course, governance is key, isn't it? We are all governed. It could be a big company, a small company, whatever. There's governance. There's people who run things, and our continent, Africa, is always our government in every country and continent is blamed somewhere, somehow. What would you like to say to them? Let's say they stumble through our podcast and they're listening to your words of hope, of encouraging. What is it that you would like to say?
You mean to the leaders? Or
to the leaders, yes. Our government, yeah.
I think the biggest issue that we have is that we don't look long term. And I think this is very controversial, thing I'm going to say here, but I don't know whether democracy actually serves the purpose in Africa that it does here. And this is very, very controversial.
Yeah.
But I feel that sometimes in the hurry, because when you have a president that's there for 4 years, you know, and he's poor, you know, his family are suffering, and becomes president, you know, by the time he lives there in 4 years' time, he wants to be sorted.
Yes.
You know. So sometimes that democratic that we have imported from the West doesn't always work. look at a country like Rwanda, for instance. Okay, with Kagame,
Kagame,
you know, the guy. So if you have a good leader, who thinks far, and they're given time to express what they do, sometimes it's better for us, you know. And that's controversial, you know. And it is a thought that's not fully formed in my mind yet, you know. But I'm thinking. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that we need to look long term. If you're a leader, you become a leader of a continent. Don't just think about the 3 or 4 years they are there. What can I achieve for my country that will be remembered in 10 years time from now, 15 years time from now?
Yes.
You know, and I think that's the problem that we have in Africa. Everything is short term.
It's short term.
Yeah, we're thinking of how can I get this tomorrow? How can I get this tomorrow? How can I get this tomorrow? So I think that is for me the leadership issue that we're having, and that's why people don't trust you. I lost thousands, like I said to you, because people are not looking beyond the short term. You know, if I'm building a business with you, in the next 4 or 5 years from now, the business will become big. So if I'm sending you £100,000 to start this business, it's going to be big. It will be big tomorrow. It will be big in 4 years time. If you are thinking far, you think, oh yeah, actually, let's build this thing slowly, but no, sometimes we want to think instantly.
Yes.
You know, and that's leadership, and also our followers as well. And that instant thing that we want quickly, we want to get rich quickly.
Yeah.
Sometimes what distracts us. We need to learn to build for the future.
Wow. I think I said I don't want to talk about politics. I think right now in Zimbabwe, what are your thoughts? They are trying to change the constitution now and extend. I think it just resonates what you just said. Extend the president's time limit. It's 10 years, 5 elections, re-elected, another 5, and then you can't do no more. So it's 10 years. But right now, as we are speaking, there's a bill, they're calling it bill number 3, I think, in Zimbabwe right now, where they're trying to extend the current president, whose time was supposed to finish 2028, and they are saying they've seen a lot of change. They are saying a lot of changes in him, but they don't feel he has fulfilled the time we talked about. They need him to stay 2 more years, to extend it to 7 years. Is that something you're talking about, or that could also come across as he has not finished stealing, or his people around him have not finished stealing? They are pushing the agenda of he stays a bit more so they can steal more. Is it the same thing, or you're talking about?
This was I said, my thoughts are not fully formed on the issue yet.
Yes.
You know, because you can, for every Kagame, there's a Museveni, isn't it? For every Kagame, there's a Museveni. You can look at Kagame, who has been there for a while, who has actually accelerated Rwanda into a different era.
Yes.
But you also have Museveni in Uganda, who has been there for...
And he's taking it downwards.
You know. So, my thoughts are not fully formed, but I do know that if you have a leader, because African institutions are not formed properly yet, you know, in the UK, we complain about Labour or Conservative, but really our life don't really change that much.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, because we talk about that, and yes, of course, there's the crisis and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But because the institutions are strong, you cannot really do anything to destroy the country because the institutions, the justice system is strong.
Changed.
Yes, you can do little changes, but the country itself is... Africa is not there yet. Our institutions are not strong yet.
I see what you mean. Yes.
You understand? So the leadership has a huge impact.
Yes.
Yeah. If you have a bad leader, it shows oversight that it was. If you have a bad leader, you know, in 3-4 years time you'll be going, no, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But in Africa, it's a different thing. So that's why I'm not completely sure. Like you're saying, whether they want to steal more money or they've done a good job and they want to continue. But if you've done a good job, one of the things about a leader is you should be able to pass on the leadership well. Okay. My main concern about Kagame is that if he leaves, who's going to take over? So part of being a leadership is that you are grooming the next generation to take after you.
Yes.
If you leave and it's a vacuum, then you are not a good leader.
I see.
You see, so that's where my thoughts are a bit one here or there.
You're still working on it.
Still working.
Let us know in your next book.
Still got it.
Steve, when I finish it off, thank you very much. I mean, you've been superb. The last question I have for you, Steve, having lived in both Ghana and Britain, what is one truth you wish every African must understand? That's a very broad, deep question.
One truth that we must understand as Africans goes back to identity. We must believe that we have the same intelligence, the same drive, the same resilience, the same creativity, the same capacity to innovate as the white person. And there should be no doubt in your mind at all, as an African,
Yes.
that you're on the same level as someone who's British.
Someone who's British,
Someone
someone
who's
who's
American.
Kurdish,
No,
or
you said
Indian.
you have that same innate capacity.
And the
And
time,
for me, that's the biggest lesson I have to learn.
and the time is the same.
Yeah,
24 hours.
24 hours.
Listen, it's been fantastic. Steve Adjei, the best-selling author in the UK, the guy who doesn't really write things for small people. He aims high. Everything he does, he aims high. It goes to show that you don't have to be African or British. As long as you carry the values of respect, you can go far. Courage, persistent. It has shown in this conversation that Steve Adjei carries all these things. Steve, before you leave, your last words for our viewers. I know you're a man of many words. I would like you to share a few with our viewers if that's you can. And that's your camera.
Can you what do you want to share? Just
Anything that you feel I want to leave people with. What we've discussed, just like a conclusion type, just to say, for example, I could say, if you are in the diaspora, make sure you don't forget your roots.
Yeah. I will keep coming back to the same thing, which is what I keep saying in us, that yes, love your continent and love Africa, but you need to believe, this is what I consistently find in Africans, which frustrates me. We still have this inferiority problem that we are struggling with. It doesn't matter how many years you've been here, we need to believe that, I've said this 3 minutes ago, it's the same time all the time.
Yes.
We need to believe that you have something in you that is the same or even better than the person that you are living with who is next to you.
Yes.
You have enough training. Our universities are very good. Yeah. Our countries are good. We have good things. We have enough foundation in us to be able to compete at the highest level with anybody in the world.
Yes. Having lived in Ghana, lived in Britain, now in Plymouth, ladies and gentlemen, Steve Adjei. Steve Adjei, how do people get hold of you? I'm sure there's people who's going to want to probably ask for advice, speak to you. I know you're a businessman, a family man, a community man. How can they get hold of you?
So my websites, obviously Stephen Adjei. If you just type in Stephen Adjei, everything will come up. So my website is probably the best place. I'm on LinkedIn. Yeah. I'm very active on LinkedIn, very active on Facebook.
Yeah.
If you want to know about my journey and my work and what I do now, it's my websites.
Yes.
StephenAdjei.com.
Thank you very much. That was Raised With Us. My name is Tendai Madume. I hope to see you in the next chapter as we carry on and move on and carry on trying to change the narrative of Africans in Africa and the ones in diaspora. Stay blessed. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. To build a better future, but our hearts never left. Every payment, every phone call, every sacrifice was made for one dream, to build something that lasts. Yet too many projects fail, not because people don't care, but because they cannot see, they cannot manage, they cannot be there until introducing Homie, the app designed for Africans in the diaspora. One place, one platform. Complete visibility, complete confidence. Wherever life takes you, Homie will always be in your hands. Homie, your project in your hands.